Because think about it, the president of the university were to quit today, he, first of all, is hard to find somebody, and he has to like tie up a lot of stuff. Not that he's quitting, but sometimes, and that's why we see here where it says it's silent in his employment agreement, which is why we can see that the notice of resignation provisions in the ESA technically indicates 2 weeks. So we could kind of push that, okay? But this employee's sick, right? Would you really say, no, you need to? I would actually probably indicate, no problem, take care of your health. If we have questions, can we call you? You know what I mean? That's a call you can make, okay? Question number 2, again, contracts and agreements. John Stone's Millwright is a mid-sized company based in Peterborough, Ontario. They provide materials for custom home interiors, boring, and the industry has been on a downturn. The company has been struggling to maintain the business for the last 2 years, and there's no collective agreement in place and no current unionization efforts. Recently, they received a large order of kitchen cabinets for a new condo building, and it'll take several months to complete, although the exact timing is uncertain. This person, the HR manager, has had to let go nearly half of their workforce. I know where this is going. Now they're worrying about how to ultimately work on the recruiting for the new employees right away to handle the demands of the condo building, okay? He's hesitant to actually do a hiring push when the future of the company is uncertain beyond the new order. Pedro was hired by this organization to work on this order on a fixed-term contract, and the termination provision states that they have the right to renew the contract in writing at the end of the 6 months. If Pedro stayed on to work for an additional 6 months, what would be true? So basically, they hired this individual on a 6-month contract. They indicate after 6 months, we could either renew or terminate, which is not uncommon. Do you all see that? When you're looking for job postings, it'll say 3-month contract, okay? One thing I'll say, I'm gonna go off topic for a moment. Sometimes when you see those contracts, you might put your nose up to them and you'd be like, or you may be thinking, 4 months. My sister at the health unit was hired on a 2-month contract. She's been there for 14 years. Why do you think people do that? So basically, they posted a job. It was leave, obviously. And they said, if we like you, we're going to keep you and put you in different roles. Obviously, they liked her. But they also, a lot of large organizations do that. It's a way to get your foot in the door. So the University of Windsor, it's very rare, except in HR, that you get hired permanently. So everybody working in the career centers and the student support, they all started like on a 6-month, 1-year contract, and then they move into permanent roles because now you're considered internal, okay? So when you see those job postings, don't get discouraged. I was actually hired, my first job at a school was a 3-month recruiter project or job. They hired me full time, but I did leave because I wanted to go work at Chrysler Financial because it was more money. But it does turn into other roles. Specifically, it's if you prove yourself. Do you know what I mean? So that's one piece of advice I can give to you. Okay? But what I would indicate is it does not provide written notice for renewal because he's on a fixed project. Okay, so recognizing we do have to terminate him appropriately as well. All right, boring. You guys don't seem like you're liking this, but that's okay. I'm going to continue anyway. Question though, would you guys like access to this if you plan to actually study for the CHRL? Okay, so I'll share that. Because the password is Diana1234. All right, this is, I don't know what that's under, it doesn't say. All right, this is interesting. A lot of contracts. Okay, this is actually just out of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So Bryce is a forklift driver at a warehouse at ABC Logistics. He's non-union in Brampton, and he's been working for the company for 3 years. He was driving forklift on a loading dock being directed by a colleague, Marco, when a serious accident happened. Without warning, the forklift hit Marco and pinned him against the safety railing. Okay, so is that serious? Yeah, okay. So basically, he had to go to the hospital, but he reported non-critical injuries. We have 48 workers regularly employed at the warehouse, and even though they have a joint health and safety committee that meets regularly. Stefan is one of the co-chairs and was working at the desk in the management office when the forklift occurred. His bosses have asked Stefan, to oversee the administrative requirements regarding the accident. He looks at the company policy regarding reporting workplace accidents, and the policy is unclear. But ultimately, that policy should indicate this is a serious or injury. When do we have to notify the Ministry of Labor? 48 hours, 72 hours, or 4 hours after the incident? 48. Yep, because it's serious, okay? And this happens. When I worked at CS Wind, somebody lost their leg because they got caught in a machine, and basically, obviously it crushed their leg to the point where they had to amputate it. And it was an accident. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing that employee did wrong. There was nothing that the organization did wrong. And if you don't report, the ministry is going to think we're hiding something. Do you know what I mean? So the sooner the better, but definitely 48 hours after that, okay? What is this? Common law, boring. I guess we could do that. But, okay, nope. I think this is CSA. It says 2000. Oh, Windsor. Let's do this one. Rainbow Fox Casino operates in Windsor, Ontario, and has been sold to the new owner, JK Holdings. They have 210 employees employed at the casino immediately before the sale. The new owner wants to change the workforce and bring in some new employees from its other business ventures, along with streamlining operations and reducing the employee count to 40 workers over a 5-week period. So they're going from 210 to 40. HR manager Sophia has been put in charge on the employee reorganization, and she's been instructed to seek out redundancies and eliminate positions in a manner consistent with the current employment law, but little risk to exposure to the company. Now I'm going to say immediately, if a company is going from 210 to 40, that's a PR disaster. If you actually go to the Windsor Star today, or I think it was yesterday, I told you my sister's organization, the health unit, they reduced their staff by 10%, okay? Makes the front page of the paper. Health unit slashing jobs. You know what I mean? So 210 to 40 workers is significant. However, 2 employees on the radar for termination is Glenn and Ekron. Glenn is a car dealer with 17 years of experience. Ekron is a security guard who started with the casino 4 months ago. Even though his contract states that his probationary period is 6 months, he has been working with the company for 4 months. The probationary clause indicates that if his employment is terminated during the first 6 months, he is provided with the amount under the ESA, in addition to any outstanding wages and vacation owing. So because this employee has been working there for 4 months with a 6-month probation, if Sophia terminates his employment, how much pay should we give him? None, 1 week, 2 weeks?
None.
3 months and 1 day, you get 1 week. See, they're trying to trick you guys. So it's recognizing that because his probationary is 6 months doesn't negate the fact that if you're 3 months, 1 day, you get 1 week, okay? But recognizing, again, they're trying to trick you on now, when you're writing the CHRL exam, you have the legislation in front of you. So what I would do is control bind termination, find the chart, and then verify that, okay? Because it's very clear in the ESA, but this was a trick question. I only picked it because it said Windsor, and I looked. Okay. Oh, another one. So same component in regards to that perspective. Now what is this talking? No, that's not a different question. Right? Was it different? It was different?
The last portion was different.
The options are different.
Oh, yes. Okay, so basically he's entitled to vacation in accordance to the ESA. If he is terminated, what can we ultimately pay him? 4% of his gross wages, 6% of his gross wages, or none because he works less than 12 months. So because we're terminating him, how much pay does he get? Yep, right?
What's the answer?
Did you say 4%?
4%. Yep. So basically, because he's been terminated, right, and the provision has to follow the ESA, you get 4%. Many of you who work part-time, do you all notice on your pay stub, you may be paid an extra 4% vacation? Do you guys have that or no?
No.
Yes. No? You
Yes.
should. Yes. So if you don't have it, it's because they're banking it for you. Okay? So if you want to take days off, you can pull from that vacation bank, but most part-time employees just get an additional 4% of vacation. I get it too, I'm part-time here. And that's what I'm entitled to, right? And that's fine, it's extra money, I love money, so it's good. Okay? Oh, here we go again. So now we have that same provision with that casino in Windsor, but now we have Cassidy, who's a bartender that worked for the casino for 6 years. Her employment is not in jeopardy of being terminated, and she's expected to remain employed. However, because she has 6 years, basically if she was being terminated for the sale, how many years of service would be considered for her termination agreement under the ESA? So basically, okay. So what this is actually asking is, because this casino was sold to another employer, okay, does her 6 years of service still count for the ESA? It's another trick question. Okay, let's do this one. So this person is working as an HR manager for the Ottawa location of Fred's Food. We have a Fred's Food throughout Ontario. Their first day was spent reviewing personnel files and getting up to speed on specific employees and relevant arrangement he needs to know to fulfill his job duties. His boss told him that he needs to fire Suzanne, I don't know, a cashier with 2 years and 11 months of service because her limited availability of shifts is too hard on the scheduling system. When they review her file, he sees that this individual has limited ability, is tied to requesting time off for religious observations. He tells his boss that religious observations should be accommodated unless they can show the following. Okay, so basically what they're indicating is the organization has the legal responsibility to respect her inability perhaps to work Sundays, what I would suggest. But what do we have to demonstrate? Her belief about religious observations do not conform with the position of religious officials in her faith. There needs to be a proving or specific evidence that accommodating Suzanne's needs is unreasonably expensive and threatens the viability of the business, or the scheduling needs have to have a cause of morale decline among employees who disagree. So this is a bona fide occupational job requirement. Do we remember that?
Yeah.
So what does the employer have to prove to say, in essence, we can be discriminatory?
Unreasonably expensive
Yeah.
and threatens.
Yep, absolutely. So maybe Sundays, they're busiest, or maybe they're a small employee and they have three cashiers. That would be bona fide in this regard, okay? Next. Here we are, Fred Cruz again. So now that, assuming that this person remains employed, and she inquires about her vacation time, claiming that under the ESA, it should be increased from 2 weeks per year to 3 weeks per year once she completes another month of service. I don't know what that means. You might want to leave, it's okay, I'm just here because I think you all want me to be here. If you want, do we want to end class?
No.
No.
Keep going. Fine. Okay, so let's read this. I don't think I have it. Okay, so basically she has 2 years, 11 months of service, and ultimately they're indicating, okay, because she's going to have 3 years of service, she believes that she should increase from 2 weeks of vacation to 3 weeks of vacation. Okay? So, want to look at this together? Yes. Yeah. Do we move to 3? I actually don't know offhand. That's why I want to look it up. Okay? So I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I were unsure. Okay? So I would go employment standards guide. Okay? And then go here. Control find vacation. Okay? Then basically vacation time or entitlement. So the entitlement to 2 to 3 weeks is determined by the period of employment of that year. If the employee has been with the employer for less than 5 years, they're entitled to 2 weeks. Okay? So what does she have? I think 3 years, right?
2 years and 11 months.
So, would we say her job category doesn't meet the minimum requirement for additional vacation time? No, it has nothing to do with her job. She'll be permitted to use the additional time the next year, or she doesn't have enough years of service for the additional time. C, right? Because it's after 5 years. And again, this is just minimum standards. I will indicate most employers will start you off at 3 weeks, a good employer, and typically after 5 years, you go to 4 to 5 weeks. You know, people like their vacation time, but this is just what the ESA indicates, okay? So here we have in pay in lieu of notice. This kind of came up a little bit in regards to this. Oh no, this is something else. Okay, so this is an automotive chain of car dealerships in Ontario that ultimately is closing down. The workforce has 178 non-unionized employees, and their payroll is $4.8 million. The company is not bankrupt, although an independent monitor has been appointed to the court to advise on the restructuring of the business, so that it can continue to operate in some capability. Part of the restructuring involves closing 2 dealerships and liquidating their inventory.